reporting for the next instalment of St.Ation Meeting Sabbatical Candidates. Today we are interviewing another Director of Events and Services candidate, or we would be, but unfortunately Tom couldn't make it today. Tom Groves couldn't make it, so he has got a stand-in, and that is Nic Hall. Hello, Nic.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
I'm good, thank you. So you and Tom are one mind. You'll be able to answer all our burning questions about manifestos and his policies.
I should be. I'm a great advocate for Tom, and I'm very familiar with his policies.
Okay, great. So we're just going to have a series of kind of questions about the manifesto, and then we'll go into some lighthearted quick-fire questions. So,
Okay.
The first question, fairly obvious. Who are you? What is your relationship with Tom?
I am Nic Hall. I am a good friend of Tom's. And yeah, I'm a good friend of Tom's.
Have you been involved with his campaign?
I've been involved with past campaigns in the past, and the current one, I am more of someone for him to bounce ideas off of, and someone to try and give him some feedback on things. I proofread a lot of his stuff, or tell him I don't like the layout of things.
Oh, okay, a very important job. Can you tell me, why is Tom running for this role again? What does he feel like he didn't achieve the first time around?
Well, that's the thing he addresses in his manifesto, that everyone's going to ask for someone running again. Why didn't you do certain things? Well, I think he has more of reason than anyone else, has ever had in the past with, COVID and the events and services role completely changing under his time. But he has adapted to that, and no matter what, he still has the ability to do so much in that time. And he's just so determined and dedicated to the University of St. Andrews that he literally will sleep 2 hours a night for weeks on end to do as much as he possibly can. And so he is just so dedicated, and he wants to return to do as much as he can when maybe things are open more. And also he just never will feel like his time and job there is finished, because there's always something more to do.
Do you think it's, considering that one of the good things about having students do these roles is in part to kind of give students good experience and a good thing to have in their CV and to kind of develop them in employment and skills, do you think it's fair for Tom to take that role on again and maybe take that away from someone else?
I absolutely see your point, and that's a great question. But I do think it is Tom's. It's a great thing for Tom to have. He has been more resourceful than I think anyone else, and has been actually more the best fit for this role given the circumstances, because he has a great deal of online persona, and he has expertise in that. And so when things were moved online, he was able to kind of take charge of that. Also, he's right in St. Andrews, and he always kind of has been. So he's always been very present. And to the idea of other students having it, it is I believe the most you can run for is 2 years. And so this would have to be his last year as a DOAS.
And what do you think, building on that last question, what do you think makes experience so much better than fresh perspective?
Well, so Tom has a lot of experience with actually being in the union, right? So he has first-hand experience working at the bar, coordinating events. He started out as being part of the events committee when he was in his younger years at the university, and then he ran STAR, and then he also worked behind the bar. So he knew inside and out when it came to logistics, radio programs, and just about everything there really was to do. And now his expertise in managing, other people's expectations, and also managing how to work within the role and with other people, especially like the higher ups, has really helped him get so much done. An example of this is how he and Gavin were given, like, for the first time, like, admin privileges to edit the website. And this is a thing that other people would have to achieve in their role to be given access to do that, because it really hadn't been done before. And he actually completely redone the website as a result, him and Gavin.
Okay, yeah, that's a good example. And going more into his kind of his manifesto and things he wants to do, one of the things he says is we should have big events, not just for freshers. Can you tell me what he means by this, expand on this a little bit, and tell me why this is important to him?
Well, so he does have a section in his manifesto towards the end that's if big events return. There is a bit of a hesitation because, as we've all learned, things are told we'll get them, and then with coronavirus, we likely won't a lot of times. So he is a bit hesitant in that, but he has some great ideas in that aren't just dedicated to freshers, because it has seen in years past that the only university year that is, given events is the freshers group. And so a lot of times people want to feel like with their class to sort of given their own sort of time. And so not necessarily just doing one of different years, but the idea of having things that are dedicated to everyone. And also, he has things that anyone could come in and do things, whether it's the day or the night, and really have different events geared towards them. So, I mean, one of the big challenges is 3 grad balls in 2022, which would be wild. He's also got things literally listed out for Monday through Sunday that could be done throughout the day between, pub quizzes, having board games out, having Sounds of Sandy's, which is also one of the things he pioneered with one of the previous Stoazes, with live bands coming into Sandy's bar. So hopefully those can return. And if they do, I really believe in Tom's ability to put them on as best as possible. And you can see this in stuff where he actually wasn't affiliated with the union when he was running, what's it called? When he was running the St. Andrews Indie Music Society, STIMS, and he would put on house parties and bring in local bands and bands from not exactly right in St. Andrews to come and play in living rooms and put on events. And this was also in addition to him also significantly helping in Sounds of Sandy's.
Yeah, okay. And I that is a really good point that you bring up the 3 grad balls, because while, he wants to do events outside freshers has a real new meaning and importance this time around, because last year's freshers completely missed out on it. And they, as much as Tom did do his best, it wasn't the freshers experience. So this time round, the directors of events and services will have to create a freshers that is both satisfying to kind of first years, but also to second years, and that kind of refreshers week and stuff. What do you think Tom plans to do to make this special, to make up for the lost time that all students have lost?
Well, speaking to that, Tom, they had some things in place, but it was very difficult because they only actually were given 10 days once they were to be aware that things could reopen to some extent before Freshers Week. But there's something he plans on. This past year he did. He wants to tap into the pre-freshers, the incoming freshers, enormous amount of exuberance and excitement, and at coming to university for this first time and really being excited at a new place and all these prospects. And so that sort of exuberance he's really trying to tap into to create more of an experience for everyone. And so this last year he created like Taskmaster-esque challenges to keep everyone involved, especially for clan warfare, which is usually, at least in my experience in my first year, one of the big moments where you come together and make new friends and really form some bonds. So he's trying to tap into that and really try and push for more of that.
Okay. And one final question in this this kind of section. I was talking to Caitlin, one of the other candidates, and I was asking about comparing her to kind of Tom and the fact that he had experience. And one of the things she said was Tom seems kind of fatigued because of the whole kind of intense year he's been through. Would you say that's a fair statement?
I would not say Tom feels fatigued. Tom is a person who, he again quite literally will not sleep more than 2 hours a night if it means getting one more line of code done on the union website. He is never willing to stop. He is always willing to push forward and do as much as he possibly can, especially to help St. Andrews in any way that he thinks is possible. His fatigue, I think everyone does feel a bit of fatigue, with the entire year has been quite a drain on everyone. And, for good reason. It has been, unprecedented times, as we always hear. But I do not agree with the idea that he has felt fatigue in this role. Has more energy than ever to continue and do more. And I think that's part of the reason why he is running again.
Okay, thank you so much for answering as best you can on his behalf. They were very good answers. So now moving on to the slightly more light-hearted questions. I guess in this way, it's more of a kind of best friend test than a personality test. So I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock,
Okay.
and you have to try and answer as many questions as you can. Just think about the first thing that comes to your mind, and that will do us just nicely. Are you ready?
I am. Is that the first question?
Perfect. 3, 2, 1. Okay, what was your first impression of Tom?
I thought Tom was very mysterious at first. He held these big house parties that I didn't really know much about, but was always invited to, because Tom used to invite 1,300 people to a house party in a very small, well, actually, it's decently sized flat on right above the co-op funeral home.
Wow, you're making me sound like the Great Gatsby. What do you think Tom? Where do you think Tom will be in the next 5 years?
Tom will be doing something with music or event planning where he can control and try and orient things to give people the best experience.
Okay. What is the significance of the duck in his campaign and manifesto?
Well,
the duck or the goose? It's a bird that's all over his manifesto.
Well, it's actually a change from his past ones where you would always do fruit, but Tom just loves goose.
Right.
And the ducks of the Kinnisburn are great.
What event was Tom most pleased with last year, do you think?
Well, I don't know about event specifically, but I know he was really, really, really pleased about being able to help coordinate giving out 6,000 meals to people over winter break, help coordinate with the staff at the union.
Okay. Where is Tom right now?
Well, we would all like to know that question.
Wait, do you not know?
Tom is out at sea, perhaps?
Is he a pirate?
Tom might be a pirate. Tom's probably a pirate.
I feel the voters should know that. What do you think is Tom's biggest weakness?
Tom's biggest weakness is that he probably has broken more bikes than I've ever seen in my life.
Wow, that's a very specific weakness.
He will ride around at 3 a.m. And break 7 bikes because he rides so rough.
Okay, so the takeaway from this is, vote for Tom, but don't leave a bike around him.
Exactly.
Right. Well, thank you so much for coming in and standing in for Tom. Thank you to everyone listening at home. Please go out and vote and listen to the event tonight. And yes, thank you for coming, Nic, and I hope you have a lovely rest of the day.
Thank you. I hope you have a good time too.